I'm all here for early adoption, but if there's a reliance on some of these tools too quickly, and I think some of the gospel that gets shared, especially from a business perspective, can be a little misleading and inappropriate. It's easy to generate, views and tell people, wow, you could save $300,000 by replacing your entire marketing team with ChatGPT to write up all this content. And sure, I get why you play with it for 5 minutes and you think this is it. Why do we have anyone writing content anymore until the system goes down all of a sudden, or you realize that there still is a need to edit and read through some of these things. Sometimes it's almost too exciting, and it can get people in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think in technology, one of our big sayings is fail fast.
Hmm.
Well, that's great until you find something that works or you think it works and you release it and you just come to find out a little bit too late that it didn't work quite the way you expected. And then what happens? You're going to roll back the technology. You can't uncork the genie once it's out. And it
Yeah.
becomes really hard to manage that impression.
Well, or and especially if you lose the people too, right? Or you lose the infrastructure to do what you were doing before. It's a little more difficult. I mean, I think it's easier to think about it from helping you expand than it is to just immediately take some of the footprint that you have now. Which again, over time, I don't think it's not going to happen. Like I do think people will be able to do more with less at a high level, or at least rethink people's strategy of how that works. I just think I would caution, making sure you're not using something that goes down every morning when everyone else is trying to figure out their favorite recipes that they're looking up. Um, you might in 1990, AT&T had a network collapsed caused by a single line of code that shot from one call center to the next and essentially shut down, 75 million phone lines. And I can't blame companies for using phones, of course, but that is the type of error I see where you have everything relying on a single piece of infrastructure. And if it goes down, you're going to be in a world of hurt. And that's where some of that reliance just isn't, we're not quite there yet.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that with any adoption of a new technology, there still needs to be a redundancy to ensure that what is replaced doesn't go away from the human perspective.
I think that's right. And if we want to talk about new roles, I mean, I think there needs to be within any organization that kind of center of excellence role to evaluate, test, stress test new technology. And then we also tend to say technology as if it's a static thing. And it's not. I mean, we can see it just from the last few weeks, how quickly some of these things change. So it's an ongoing need to reevaluate and make sure that you're that everything's going to go well, right, as well as you can.
Right. It's almost governing the technology that you're implementing on a repeated and regular basis.
That's right. That's right. And that's the only way we're going to get sustainable growth with some of these things.